Ladies and gentlemen, as a long life WWE fan, where do I even begin? Do I begin from the Ministry of Darkness, the Dead Man, the Phenom, the American Badass, or even Mark Calloway himself? There's so much I could say. But today's a day I'm sure everybody has heard about and knows about. It is the 30th anniversary, 30 years to the day Mark Calloway, aka The Undertaker, debuted for WWE. November 22nd, 1990, The Undertaker debuted at Survivor Series. And today, November 22nd, 2020, The Phenom, The Undertaker, will be live WWE Survivor Series, the Thunderdome, to mark 30 years in the business as the final farewell of the Phenom, the Dead Man, the Myth, the Legend, the Icon, the American Badass, the Undertaker, or just simply Mark. Where do I start here? The Undertaker's not my favorite by no means. My favorite of all time growing up is a Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. I watched him retire, so at WrestleMania 26, 2010, Glendale, Arizona, Shawn Michaels retired due to being defeated by The Undertaker himself. But that's for another story, another day. My first memory of The Undertaker was, I've been watching wrestle now for almost 20 years now. I still remember to this day. Unforgiven 2000. I was 6 years old. My mom ordered the pay-per-view for $7.99. The Undertaker was in a fatal four-way match for the WWF title. That hosted The Undertaker, The Rock, Chris Benoit, and Kane. The Undertaker came up short, but at that time he was the American Badass, and I watched him with the Brothers of Destruction, Kane, and The Undertaker came back in 2004 as the Badass, but this was my first impression of the Phenom. And I'm sure everyone else throw a finger in the air. Let me see you wet. Say hey, hey. Kid Rock is the American Badass Taker, and then the Phenom. He debuted a couple theme songs back then, actually. To Rollin' by Limp Bizkit, to You're Gonna Pay, which is one of my favorites of all time that The Undertaker ever used. I mean, him coming on that Harley week in and week out, just raising hell week in and week out. It's just a sight that every wrestling fan would love seeing. You've done it now, you've gone and made a big mistake. And I can't allow you to think you can just walk away. The American Badass, Big Evil. Personally, that's my favorite version of the Phenom, The Undertaker. He just raised so much hell. His yard, he didn't care. The American Badass Taker. And then he returned at WrestleMania 20, Madison Square Garden, against the Big Red Machine Kane, to his Dead Man persona, which was still great too as well. I still remember to this day, and we're gonna play this for you. But yeah, congratulations, Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, the Phenom, the Dead Man, and right here's a shirt I bought for him. He came back as the American Badass this past WrestleMania 36 against the phenomenal AJ Styles in a boneyard match. Fit perfect. I loved the Last Ride doc series by The Undertaker. WWE production crew produced a phenomenal series, off the charts. And one thing that I respect so much about The Undertaker is the man's dedication. 30 years to WWE, the longevity, the Taker kept coming back, injury after injury, hip surgeries after hip surgeries, Whenever Vince needed The Undertaker was there. He carried the load. No disrespect to Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. I could go on and on and on for days. But Shawn Michaels, in my opinion, is the greatest in-ring performer of all time. But when you think WrestleMania, you think the Phenom, you think The Undertaker, the streak, 21-0, until he lost it to, of course, Brock Lesnar, but that's for another day, another topic. I think the streak should have never ended, and if it did, it should have ended to an upcoming guy who could have benefited better, but that's for another day, whatever. But when you think about WrestleMania, like, everybody pretty much was looking forward to The Undertaker's matches, the streak, to see what would happen. Everybody was off their feet from the matches from Batista, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, CM Punk, Edge, WrestleMania 24, the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship, WrestleMania 21, Randy Orton, WrestleMania 18, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, WrestleMania 17 against The Game, Triple H, WrestleMania 19 against A-Train. I can just go on and on and on. Taker and Shawn Michaels, in my opinion, WrestleMania 25 is their greatest WrestleMania match of all time. 45-minute instant classic. But to know The Undertaker's career is officially more than likely over, I've been honored and privileged to watch Mark Calaway, The Undertaker, perform on my TV screen week in and week out, the heart and soul of Thursday Night SmackDown, Friday Night SmackDown. And The Undertaker has the most wins ever on WWE pay-per-view. Just think about that. 30 years. And something, too, about The Undertaker that I really enjoyed. He didn't need world titles. If you think about it, he's not even up there with Randy Orton or Triple H or John Cena. He didn't need world titles. Taker elevated stars. That's why, in my opinion, The Undertaker, the greatest character of all time, the greatest of all time, in my opinion. Just the longevity of that man. And it's going to be an honor later on to watch the final farewell of The Undertaker. Former legends going to appear. I'm sure Taker's going to be pretty emotional, but do I think it's the final farewell? We'll see. But in my heart of hearts, I believe Vincent Kennedy McMahon does not want The Undertaker to retire in front of a bunch of computer screens at the Thunderdome. The Undertaker needs to retire in front of a sold-out crowd at WrestleMania with all the fans chanting, "Thank you, Taker. Thank you, Taker. Thank you, Taker." Taker, Mark Calaway, the Phenom, the Dead Man, the American Badass. It was a privilege watching you for about 19 to 20 years. And I'll say it again. A first ballot WWE Hall of Famer. Can't wait till later on to watch the final farewell, to see you celebrated. Can't wait to see you get inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame and take your place where you rightfully belong. And I just want to say thank you, Taker. Thank you for everything. Thanks for the memories. Thanks for the instant classics. Thanks for the WrestleMania moments. And thank you for being a part of my wrestling childhood. I greatly appreciate it, Taker. You are the GOAT.